Hi teacher, and this is my final video for the optativa you gave us. I chose the movie of Pearl Harbor in order to reflect all the intentions of in the semester. We saw how history is written by the victors. So in this film, I developed a certain um, elements who make me think in another way how this Battle of Pearl Harbor have the influence in the Second World War. So for uh, so the beginning of this little video, it's who are the characters in this film. So first one is the Lieutenant Raphael McClellan, who is a pilot of the United States Army in the Air Corps. Who this person is really courageous and great sense of honor. The second one, the Lieutenant Daniel Walker, who is also a pilot of the Air Corps of the United States Army, and Evelyn Johnson, who at the beginning of the movie it was only the triángulo amoroso of this movie. But in the movement of the movie, she became kind of a secretary who registered the entire intel coming from the other side of the line. But okay. The four characters, the Mayor Jimmy Doolittle, who is the American aviator, this person is the most obvious. The experience of in war gave this man to the Air Force a new focus to how use the plane to carry on. And the last one, the cooker, this black guy whose name was Doris Myler, who was only the cooker aboard the USS Arizona. But in the movie we saw how this man was the first black man to obtain the Navy Cross for his courage in the Battle of Pearl Harbor. So the bands of countries in conflict was Japan for one side, and the Americans, the good ones. And this is a brief summary of the movie. This movie it's about two friends, Raphael and Danny, who they sprang planes, entered to the U.S. Army, and really at the beginning of the United States in that time didn't get into the Second World War after this attack. So these two guys joins to the Eagle Squadron. It was a group made of Americans, Canadians, Australians, and Swiss, and other nationalities from the neutral country who were in this island in Hawaii only as a volunteers. In the movie, Daniel has this relationship with this girl who only waste 40 minutes of the movie in this how they know them, how they are dating. And it was absolutely unnecessary, but come on, it's an American movie. They need romance in the entire franchise. So this girl dated with the two guys at the same time, and she was who was the better option, the rough guy or the sweet guy. And at the end of the movie, well, with a little spoiler, um, one of this guy had a critical disease. Okay, the movie get more interested when Japan this decides to make an attack in the island of Hawaii in Pearl Harbor as a military installation. So this attack was really a surprise because these the Japanese sent kind of medals in order to say, okay, we are friends and when we don't have any conflict. The Second World War, they are already launched, but they launched this full-scale attack. Was a kind of suicide mission, but okay. This attack was only on December 7, 1941. The Japanese military began to bomb Pearl Harbor, waking up the two boys before him. Rafe asked Danny to take him on the airship soon, because this attack was really early, kind of 6 or 7 of the morning. Most of the the arms marking was really close, and the guy who has the keys was asleep, and this attack really was a kind of surprise. I will explain this comillas after this. Okay, so our two heroes, Rap and Danny, managed to mount these two P-40s. Was a kind of airplane who the USS has. So they strike and shoot it down this like 7 Japanese heroes. Was the biggest aircraft the Japanese had. So after that, President Franklin Roosevelt declared the state of war against the Empire of Japan. And he says, and I quote this part of the movie, this is an infamous day of the history of the United States. Forces to this country to come out in this installation and declare total war. And it will change the course of the history. And he was really right, because after the United States joined to the Second War, the balance of the war came to the Allies. Okay, the rest of the movie, they have one plan: the bombing of Tokyo by this kind of suicide mission led by Jimmy Doolittle, who trained all these soldiers to take off the aircrafts and airbomb with this aircraft carrier. And of course, the heroes of the United States they had only 3-1 to score, because they don't have the entire chips, they don't have any chips. The Japanese discovered this attack, and they have to take up the aircraft like 65 miles plus. They got programmed to engage the attack. Okay. Already when they have about to reach Japan, the Japanese detect them and began to attack than expected. They succeed in attacking several cities, but they realized that they are no longer have the fuel to return to the carrier ships. So they have to land, or whatever if they crash in Japanese coasts, to reach China, because they was they have allies in there to recover. So fuels run out, and the fuel managed just a few managed to land the coast of China, which they are invaded by the Japanese. So Rap and Danny, along with the other soldiers, managed to take refuge, but the Japanese find them and they attack. They managed to defend, but the spoiler was here. Danny was killed in action, and Raphael grabs a gun and he managed to kill the Japanese like an American hero. And the Chinese go and they rescue them, all the soldiers that are alive. But Danny Truckett was a tragic death. So they carry on and take all the survivors to the United States, and Raphael take his friend Danny, take the body of Danny, and return to the U.S. At the end of the movie, Evelyn and Raphael received these declarations for the reporter, the real Miller, shot down several planes during the attack of Pearl Harbor. He has the, I was saying, he was the first black man, obtained the Naval Cross. And President Roosevelt did. Okay, with this we finish the description of the movie, and this is a kind of summary of the historical content. So, on December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the United States, and this was intended to be a preventive action aimed to the intentions to the United States came with the army from the Ocean Pacific. So the Empire of Japan was planning to carry out the southeast of Asia against the ultramarine possession of the United Kingdom, French, Netherlands, and the United States. What's carried out by 1,343 Japanese aircraft, and that took from the 6 aircraft carriers. The American battleships burning in the port of Pearl Harbor were damaged, and 4 of them were sunk. The day after this offense, on December the 8th, the United States declared a state of war to the Empire of Japan. After this United unite with the Allies, but the Nazi Germany and the fascists of Italy declared the war to the United States on December 11th in response to the operations launched against the Asian axis of power. This not existence of formal declaration of the Japanese side, but come on, they attack. Led the U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt to declare the war. And well, he says, it's a date that will live in infamy. Because this offensive was carried without prior war declaration. There's not any explicit notice. The attack on Pearl Harbor was tried at Tokyo trials as a war crime. And this final part of the video is the critical poster. In the Pearl Harbor movie, you can appreciate this romantic story, the patriotism of the old characters, and the personal problems and the military conflicts that unleashed the Second World War. The movie goes into deep in this how the war originated and the development. Since its scenes, how the Japanese make to believe they only try to maintain the status quo in the Ocean Pacific, but it was the opposite. But they seek to attack this port of Pearl Harbor by other means. The film archetypes through the protagonist and to show the patriotism and love of their country, and, and how they got shot and they got killed, and the desperation of all the characters to take at least one aircraft of the Japanese attack. And it can be observed that the war is very cruel and violent. Since the fall of Pearl Harbor, there were many deaths, and that when going to attack Japan, more pilots died, and also several civilians in Japan. There's a scene of the movie when the Japanese are attacking the island of Pearl Harbor, and they attacked an hospital. It was only a decision of the director of this movie because, according to the letter of history, it says the Japanese don't have any authority to attack civilian buildings like this hospital. It seems kind of only to make the Japanese the worst. They are evil, so they are the enemy. And the Americans, the poor guys that are falling and dying for the country, are the good guys. So, but it's only an opinion. And this character, Ray McAlpin, has this brave and astute pilot who fights to defend the country, and not only but also seeks to help other countries. So they are in this world, the regardless of their life. And this chef Doris Myler, who collapses two Japanese planes and the Pearl Harbor attack. Okay, this really happened because it was the first black guy who got the enthusiasm, but the way it put in the scene feels kind of forced the scene, because come on, he's piling potatoes in the kitchen, and oh, this is a gun, I'm going to shoot in some aircraft because no one is shooting. So it's kind of a little forced. The patriotism, this film shows a lot of the patriotism of all the characters. When the United States goes in combat, despite the losing against the Japanese, they go and grab weapons and try to defend themselves against the Japanese. So, could be this a conclusion, because okay, patriotism is at some point we need this sense of honor of the patriot, but they don't point the other side of the coin. They only put the losses of the United States. It's a conspiracy theory who says the Pearl Harbor attack was only the opportunity to the United States to join to the war, only an excuse, because according, even in the movie, got the information of the intel of the attack of the Japanese before the attack in Pearl Harbor, about the border crazy, and they can't communicate to Pearl Harbor. Come on, there are a lot of countries, but it's just a movie, and with this, I have to say thank you, teacher, to the way you put the entire class. It really helps the philosophy in this kind of material, because we can show the historical events, even in the movies, but with other eyes. So thank you for all the considerations you have during the semester, and that will be it. So thank you, and have a good day, and take care of yourself and your your lovely kids. Bye.